History doesn't always repeat, but it does rhyme. What if the banking system broke in 2023 and they've just been hiding it in plain sight? I mean, look at this. We are well past 2008 levels and nobody seems to care. I'm getting some major Michael Burry vibes.
It's possible that we are in a completely fraudulent system.
And there are signs. A meme sent GameStop ballistic. And newsflash, when a stock surges 90% because of a roaring kitty, well, you're currently living in one of the most speculative environments in history. What does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, my friends, it may be time to start asking, what happens to Bitcoin when the dollar and the fiat system go to zero?
Party, party, that party. Come and have a good time with G.O.D.
Yeah, it's probably time to take those intelligent investor books, throw them in the trash. I mean, look at this guy. He studied markets for 20 years just to watch GameStop go up 30% because of a meme. Here are some of the numbers. GameStop added 6 billion in market cap during the session yesterday. AMC also closed the day up 120%. So currently, short seller losses are now above 1.3 billion just between the two stocks. And a lot of people are out here like, hey, this is the revolution, including this Andrew Tate guy. This is hilarious. He becomes the latest celebrity to say he's buying GameStop and never selling. He says GameStop is a battle against the system. I really don't think he gets it. No, Andrew Tate, I hate to break it to you, but I don't think that is the revolution. It actually could be more of a pump and dump psyop.
If you're out there putting in the work and the only thing you want to do is preserve your wealth, the exit ramp could very well be Bitcoin. It's a hell of a lot better than going out and running up GameStop because there's no counterparty. Nobody can shut trading off. Nobody can take your Bitcoin. There's no dilutive danger because nobody's going to go out and issue more of it. And it is, in essence, a way to opt out of the entire system. Your beef is with the fiat system. You're getting fucked because of the fiat system. And by the way, when FOMO catches on in Bitcoin, like I think it'll probably do into the second half of this year, there's no more supply. It's just a bigger bid. What happens when 5 million of those degenerate motherfuckers combine with like the 5 million disgusting dirty hippies that were living in tents during Occupy Wall Street, combined with the 2 million people that are still walking around with Ron Paul signs? What happens when all those people join together and join the Bitcoin network? When you understand the network and you understand it is literally the code equivalent of the saying there's safety in numbers and power to the people. When that adoption happens, you're simultaneously strengthening the network. And so, like, if you're going to bet on something, why not just bet on kind of returning some of that power to the people?
Nice takes from Quote the Raven there, and welcome to Team Bitcoin. And we can look at this, guys. The US bond market has now been in a drawdown for 45 months, and this is the longest bond bear market in history. Meanwhile, we can hop over here, take a look at Bitcoin and its cycle history. We are definitely far from a peak in regards to that. And some are speculating maybe we're in this Minsky moment as Roaring Kitty might mark the end and top of the return to normal abnormal phase of the super bubble. Is the multi-year mania coming to a close? And no one really dove into this subject more than the author of The Great Taking. Check this out.
9,000 banks in the United States were forced into failure. The people who had money in those banks lost all their cash, but their debts were not canceled. Their debts were then consolidated into the Federal Reserve System and enforced. So people that were in debt were in trouble. Even wealthy people lost everything. The difference this time around is they're not going after just property that is encumbered by debt. They've engineered this so they can take things, all securities as collateral, from people and entities that have no borrowings against them. They own them clear and outright. So it is not about your insolvency that causes the loss of your assets. It's the insolvency of the people that secretly used your collateral as their property without telling you that or disclosing it.
Yeah, the great Ron Paul foretold this long ago. And if you want an example of what is happening, like the fall of an empire, the US debt has soared past 34 trillion. Congress has killed off its plan to tackle the crisis. It's obvious no one cares. It's all a sham. 34.6 trillion in debt. No one cares about a banking crisis. Don't act surprised when the meme stonks implode and they blame it all on retail. And remember, they want you to look over here while this is going on over here. And did you see while the GameStop was pamping Bank of California? Well, another bank was dumping. This is all stupidly bullish news for Bitcoin, and I know you've heard Max say,
Euros are going to zero. The yen's going to zero. The Chinese currency is going to zero. It's all going to zero against Bitcoin.
but what does that actually mean for Bitcoin's price? Because again, gradually then suddenly comes fast. Black swans come fast. Gamma squeezes come fast. And well, we have some of the most bullish numbers you've ever seen coming your way in just a second. But before we break that down, let's take a minute to recognize our sponsors, the Bitcoin Way, because taking self-custody of your Bitcoin, you can protect yourself from the clown show and the great taking. Bringing over 25 years of experience in cybersecurity, the Bitcoin Way is your IT team in the Bitcoin world. They'll help take you from that why Bitcoin to the how Bitcoin, from setting up your first wallet node all the way up to inheritance planning, accepting Bitcoin payments for your business. They cover all aspects of Bitcoin security and privacy. They even work with their clients to configure routers, devices, and networks. Also, not to mention UTXO management, in short, for everything in Bitcoin sovereignty and privacy related. They are your go-to source. You remember those guys that were like 34 trillion in debt? Yeah, they're asking for raises.
Trying to maintain two places to live, have clothes in two places, have a car in two places, it's very difficult.
When I got to Congress, I realized, holy smokes, that comes out of my pocket without reimbursement.
And you're not allowed to write off any of the expenses. Washington
Washington's
is
expensive. I think there needs to be at least an inflationary adjustment.
I think it should at least keep up with inflation.
It should probably go up with the cost of living.
Congress works better when you have a broad swath of the American people being able to run and get elected.
What an absolute clown show. But the Bitcoin realized cap, my friends, it just hit an all-time high. And if you've been following us at Simply Bitcoin, you know every major bank, hedge fund, pension fund in the world, they're all reporting exposure to Bitcoin. While degens are FOMOing into meme stonks, you need to be hopping on board the monetary revolution. And let's get to some charts here that are going to show you just how bad it is in fiat clown world. Things are not looking good, and it's like kind of eerie how no one's really been talking about it that much. But Riggs had a really good thread, and let's go through some of this. What the happened in 2021? Things took a major turn. As we can see here, the real average hourly earnings 4% below trend, staggering considering where they were in 2021. Debt to income ratio for all home buyers. This is absolutely insane, and why the you'll own nothing and be happy is becoming more of a reality as the fiat system is widening wealth disparity at record pace. The Federal Reserve's earnings since 2011 off a cliff. This is wild as well. We can look at different things that may be the cause, but I think broken money, the root here, as life expectancy in the US is dropping and sharply. Not to mention Joe Consorti drops this right here. Bank deposits are contracting faster and more aggressively than at any time in the past 50 years. You know, it's probably nothing. And we kind of set the stage with the Big Short, those '08 vibes, and here we are, mortgage rates now higher than 2007. The 20-year bond ETF is down an eye-watering 50% from its highs in 2020. Then we can see again, history doesn't always repeat, but it does rhyme. We have the dot-com bubble, the financial crisis, the vid, and then here we are, job openings collapsing again. And these are all also signs of the money printer coming back in full force. Look at that rate of change on monthly mortgage payments. How are people supposed to get by? You can't in the fiat system. You have to get out of it. Being within it is enabling it. Shocking stat of the day, 2.1 trillion of excess savings have been wiped out of the US economy since August of 2021. This is theft. And why Balaji said the banking system broke in 2023. They're just hiding it. And look at how far beyond '08 we are. The great financial crisis bailout is just a little blip versus what the Fed is doing today, right now, just now, to support the banks with liquidity. And people wonder why the market is up. when the games stop, Bitcoin's going to 60 million. Check out this clip from Larry Lepard and ask yourself, what side are you going to be on when everyone wakes up and realizes the Fed is bankrupt?
The Silicon Valley Bank was bankrupt. 2 weeks ahead of that, nobody knew. 1 week ahead of it, one accountant knew. He played the telephone game and told some friends. They had internet connections and friends. Boom, a week later, it was gone.
And they're bankrupt. That's crazy.
And they're bankrupt.
Wow.
Think about that. Federal Reserve, we know it's bankrupt. You and I know it's bankrupt. I'm not sure it's going to spread with the same kind of rapidity.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting model, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, if suddenly you'd rather be a little early rather than a little late when everyone says, holy shit, this dollar is no goddamn good.
Yes.
I want to exchange mine for shit that can't be printed. What would happen if we woke up one morning and Bitcoin was up $50,000 in a day? What would people do? What would people think? That's weird.
Yeah.
Gee, and some people think, God, that's great. Yeah. Sold to you. I'm out of here. I've got a nice profit.
Yeah.
Other people will go, no. I know what this means.
That's right.
It's going up 200 and then 500 and then a million. And I mean, this is fiat currency failing. That could be the trigger event similar to the accountant saying, oh my God, this bank has negative equity.
Right.
Keep those sats frosty. Valhalla awaits, because Parman breaks down so eloquently here, when the dollar goes to zero, that's going to place Bitcoin somewhere between 50 and 100 million. What does that mean? That means we're looking at 60 cents per sat in $60 million Bitcoin. Don't be a blue-haired, paper-handed pansy. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Stay tuned. Special edition coming at you Thursday. I'm going to have a 1-hour sit-down with Clint from Liberty Lockdown, Libertarian candidate for vice president. That is going to be super fun. And I'll be reporting live from Trudeau's Gulag, which again, stay tuned. Simply will be in Trudeau's Gulag at the Canada Bitcoin Conference Friday and Saturday. Live stream coming at you. Stay tuned, guys. In case you missed some of the recent news, we got you covered. Be sure to check those out. But again, guys, the Chinese government is issuing $100 billion plus in bonds. Its citizens are desperately trying to get their money out of the country. Simultaneously, we know Japan's currency is crashing and the US is helping them with a shadow bailout, just so our bond market doesn't completely crash. And you're bearish on Bitcoin? Have you seen a therapist?
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.